Good morning. My name is Don Bazzizo. I'm the athletic director at Burlington Edison High School, but I'm also your District One director. This video is being put together to help those that might become a tournament manager or tournament director for any postseason events here in District One, and kind of how we go about doing the process of being a tournament manager and what the details include to be a tournament manager here in District One. So first of all, a good place to know to reference is our WIADistrict1.com website. And if you scroll over to the financial, you will scroll down and you will see tournament finance reporting and paperwork. Click on that link and that will take you to the documents that you will need. I have already done that. And as you can see, you have right off the bat a tournament director manager checklist, which is this form right here. And this is what I'm going to spend some time with you today, kind of going through the process. Again, all the forms can be found at the WI District One under the financial drop-down tab. You will see on that tab the tournament director checklist, which is right on that spreadsheet that I have showing you up there above. You also have your tournament volunteer manager stipends and your tournament volunteer stipends and a tournament volunteer manager's handbook. So the handbook is there for you as a tournament manager director. It kind of lays out everything on how to go about, up to selling tickets, to putting your event workers together, what to pay your event workers are underneath the stipends for each one of those. To clarify, the reason the word volunteer is in there, that the event workers at the different school districts that might step up to help out with that need to understand that they are volunteering to do the work as running a score clock or keeping a scorebook or working a finish line, et cetera, depending on what you've set them up to do. They're volunteering for that. It's completely a separate entity. So there is like no overtime for doing these kind of events. This is just volunteer. And then we turn around and actually give them a financial stipend for volunteering and working those events. Every event worker must complete a form, which is located right here. Complete this form prior to doing the event. It kind of lays out the name of the event, what days of the week, what dates and what hours they're working. More information that you need to collect as a tournament director, tournament manager, even a host manager or host site needs to have their event worker fill this out. You do not need to turn a copy of this into me. You want to keep these forms on file in your athletic office or in your ASB bookkeeper office for future reference if there's any pushback ever by a volunteer worker indicating that they were not aware that they were volunteering there to do the events and so forth. This just prevents and helps you as a school district not to have to pay overtime if some of them were likely to do the same type of job through the day or in the evening. So anyway, that's what needs to be completed for each of them. But as far as what stipends you're going to pay yourself as a tournament manager director, as well as your event workers, you'll click on either one of those two links. Again, on the tournament director checklist, so there are pre-tournament things that you need to do. You need to put a bulletin, and there are copies of bulletins or fact sheets out there for the tournament that you are running. If you are hosting the finals and you are the tournament manager for the finals of, let's say, boys basketball, you are required to do the bulletin. Even though you might have a first round and second round at higher seeds or host sites, you are the tournament manager overseeing the entire tournament. So a bulletin needs to be put together for those particular sports. Then also any brackets that may be new or needs to be updated, provide me a copy, and or we need to send copies to Andy Knapp at the WIAA office so that Andy Knapp can update those brackets on the WIAA tournament manager bracket system. You will also have, as a tournament director, tournament manager, access to those brackets. So as when the event starts, you will be able to update scores or make a date change or make a venue change in case there might be a snow day during the basketball tournament. Hey, we're going to cancel this day, so we're going to move all the events to this day. So you can go in and you have access to edit those as needed, and or update scores as needed when the event takes place. Again, you're going to assign your event workers to the tournament. Then you're also going to set up and promote GoFan for these events. Now, I do the actual setup of the online ticketing system through GoFan. Your job as a tournament director is to help promote, to let people know that, hey, there are online tickets available for postseason events here in District 1. Even though the WIAA does not allow cash sales at their events, District 1 postseason events, we still allow cash options at the gate unless there's some unique circumstances that we're not able to do that. You can also find on the website, up under the financial, any tournament ticket prices and passes that you might need to print out in order to run your event. All of those are updated to District 1 prices and the passes that are allowed for postseason events by going up to financial, tournament ticket prices, etc. You'll also see admissions for the fan that can click on and find their event in your area or at your host site to find tickets as well. And also tickets will be, a link will be available on the brackets for the specific event itself. And so I will make sure that that is all taken care of. Underage permission forms, if you are running a tournament and you have anybody that's under the high school age, that might be a ball boy or a ball retriever or etc., they must have a permission form on file in your office, just in case, to let them know what the risk liabilities are for those underage kids that might be on a sideline being a ball boy or a bat boy or etc., etc. On the next one is the bracket manager video. This is if you have never ran a bracket before and how to operate a bracket, Andy Knapp put a nice bracket manager video recording together. You can take a look at that to see how to go in and do the how-tos. I am able to give you permission or give you access to being an editor or a manager of a bracket. So if you don't have access to that, I can give that to you, or Andy Knapp can give that to you as well. There is no GoFan webinar that I believe for winter. This was back in the fall, so I need to take that out of there. But I can walk you through. You have the link to GoFan up here. There is a file that I've created with GoFan flyers and whatnot to share with your ticket gate people so they know how to redeem passes or tickets on the phone. You don't have to have any equipment to do that. The purchaser, the spectator, will walk up with their phone, show you 3 tickets, and click on the 3 tickets and redeem those tickets in front of your ticket taker people or pass gate people, depending on how you set that up. Again, if you have any questions on any of this, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. If you're using a venue other than your own school, please do a walk around as a tournament director manager, just to look over safety issues prior to the event. There is no documentation other than just checking off that you've done that and making note that you've done that, just to make sure that we've got everything in order. If you are required to sign a contract, please don't sign a contract until it's been reviewed by myself and or the WIAA office. We want to make sure that we're not accepting all liability, that the contract does say that the venue will accept some of the liability if there happens to be an issue, that we don't have sole responsibility of accepting all liability risk. So anyway, we just want to make sure that the contracts are clearly stated that way. During the actual tournament, it's your job as a tournament director, even at the host sites, to make sure that we keep the brackets updated between you as a tournament manager, the AD as the host site, and myself as a district director, making sure that we're updating our brackets as soon as possible. Arbiter when officials enter scores into Arbiter, they do not transfer to the bracket at this time. So we have to manually go into the bracket and put the scores in so that the teams advance in the bracket as appropriate. And so in order for me to set up the GoFan for the next day, we need to have that information in there as soon as possible that evening. So allow the tournament host sites, athletic directors, to contact you by sending you an email or a text to give you the score of that evening event, so you can go in as the tournament manager and enter those scores, or I will do the same thing. So between all of us, we can get those scores entered into the brackets. Also, you must have, as we set up here, established games committee before the tournament. So outline in your bulletin who will make up your games committee. So if there's any appeals immediately, that games committee can take care of those appeals in a timely fashion. In some cases, if you're in a baseball game and you're playing a doubleheader, you might need to make that decision between the first game and the second game. So make sure you identify who's going to be on your games committee. Usually it's the head official that's on a games committee, along with athletic directors that you've established and made communication with as part of being on the games committee, and or maybe a coach or two that are not involved in the appeal. So if you have schools A and B appealing to B, you might have coach from C team and D team on your games committee that are not involved in the situation, but that needs to be identified in your bulletin prior to the event starting. And also, if you are at a host site, you might have an established appeals committee that can be contacted by phone from those host sites, and or have the athletic director at that host site be a part of that appeals committee as well. Post-season tournament, there's a couple things that you need to do. Once the tournament's done, you've identified all your workers. You're going to put a financial report together, along with taking all of the proceeds that you've earned at the gate, whether it's by credit card or by cash, and you are going to make a deposit into the District One tournament account. Again, you can find on the tournament financial place a copy of deposit slips that you can make a copy of the deposit slip and fill it out and take it to any Bank of America and make a deposit into the district tournament account. Make sure when you go to fill out your deposit slips that you follow a process where you put the name of the tournament, preferably the classification, whether it's boys or girls or both, where the tournament was taking place at, and the date of the tournament. And sometimes the game number on the bracket helps to identify which gate that this goes to. If you are hosting multiple games at a site on any particular day, you only need to fill out one financial form per day in order to process that information and put all the schools that were participants. So you don't have to clear a gym necessarily and start over for the next contest. One financial report with all the schools listed on it that participated that day is fine as far as submission goes. So depositing your money should be deposited no later than 48 hours after the event. If you're hosting it on a Saturday, preferably deposited by Monday. I like to get an email of a copy of your deposit slip with everything written on it, or a text indicating, hey, I'm making a deposit of X amount of dollars today, and it goes to this tournament. So when I get the bank statement, I can identify the deposit amount that goes along with the event that it's being deposited for. Sometimes people forget to do that, and it's very confusing when I'm getting multiple deposits on a Monday afternoon and I have no idea where those deposits go to, and I have to spend a lot of time trying to track down what deposit goes to which event. And I want to make sure that the monies get to the appropriate people by the time we're all done, said and done at the end of the sporting season. And then these tournament financial reports need to be completed and submitted within 15 days. This is a spreadsheet that is fillable by using the drop downs. You want to identify the type of a tournament or meet name. So it's either going to be a district, tri-district, bi-district, depending on, or a state round game. Because I do oversee state rounds 1 and 2 for football and soccer. So you may be hosting that, and those monies will come to me. Identify the sporting event, the classification, the home team, the opponent. Now, if there are multiple teams there, you need to go down to the notes and put in under the notes all of the teams. If it is an individual sport like wrestling or golf or track or cross country, I need to know the participation numbers for each one of those schools so I can break the monies down, whether there's revenues or expenditures, evenly to those participants that participate in those individual sports. Any one of these boxes you can override by just clicking on it and typing into it. So if it doesn't quite fit, like you're not sure the name of the venue, you can click on it, or the opponent name. If you can't find the opponent and it's outside of our District 1, for instance, if you're participating against North Creek, you might just type in North Creek and it'll override the box of drop down opponents. Most of the home teams and opponents I have listed in there are all District 1 schools. The ticket revenues, I need to have an identification on how many tickets you're sold. Normally in a postseason, it's 8 and I believe it is 8 and 6 now for postseason District 1 events. So those are the type of tickets you're going to be sold. I need to know the number. You plug in the number here and it will total the amount for you. If you are over or short, you're going to indicate that there. Again, you can increase these boxes and make them a bigger size if you need to put notes in there. And then down here in the blue section is where you're going to put your event workers and list your event workers and the type of job they did. Again, these can be overridden. If it's a custodial cost and you're paying the custodian directly and not to the school district, go ahead and type the name of the custodian in there. And normally I'm going to send all the checks to the school address, but if there's on a special occasion where you might want one check sent directly to the person, you can put their school address or put their address in there. And then the number of hours worked, just to kind of estimate that, whether it's 2.5 hours for a basketball game or whatnot. And then the stipend amounts based on, again, on that page where the stipends back here, how much each position earns. And so you're going to put that stipend amount in there. Again, that'll total. And then this is all for business down here. Give me the revenues, expenditures, and everything. So that's where you put that information at. And again, this form is due within 15 days after the event is over with. Sometimes that'll allow you to get your invoices or your copies of your invoices from your district's office if you got to pay custodial or whatnot. If you're waiting on a long-term invoice coming from like Civic Field or something like that, you might indicate Civic Field rental. If you know the amount, put the amount in there. If you don't know the amount, just leave it blank, and then we will work on getting that information from those that run Civic Field, for instance. So all you got to do is make a copy of this. I suggest you make multiple copies of this so you keep it on your hard drive and then send me a copy of it. If you're familiar with Google, all you got to do is copy, make a copy of this. So you don't want to just fill this form out, make a copy of it for your records. So you're not using my form. So make sure you make a copy of it before you start filling it out, and save it on your hard drive, or download it and make an attachment, send it by email to me at this email address right here. And so that I get a copy of that. And you might save it as a 3A basketball, boys basketball tournament at Marysville Pilchuck, for instance. You might save the form as, and then that way you have all your workers. So if you may host another event down the road, you have your workers' names in there, and all you got to do is tweak and adjust it and fill it out again and make another copy of it. So anyway, that's how you fill out your District 1 financial report form and turn it in to me. And again, anytime you need me, my contact information is listed right there. My cell phone number, you can text scores to me and or ask questions, or email me your financial reports or questions at nwdist1@gmail.com. So once again, that's how to be a tournament manager and some of the steps that you need to go through in order to become a tournament manager and director if you've never done it before. So it's always good to help share this information if you're going to have your admin assistant or your bookkeeper take care of some of the financial reports and whatnot for your postseason event. Unless you're going to do it as the athletic director, I would recommend that the athletic director take care of most of it, because you kind of know what's going on. And sometimes it takes a little bit for your admin assistants to understand the process of the amounts paid and whatnot, as far as stipends and whatnot go. So make sure you also, on your finance report, put yourself down as the tournament manager, Tournament manager stipends are located up there as well. And or if you are a site manager, you'll also fill out that financial report form for your host sites. So if you're an athletic director hosting first round higher seed game, that you're going to fill that out for your game that's at your site. So, all right. Again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. And thank you for stepping up and becoming a tournament manager, tournament director here in District 1. Appreciate it.